List SZN. And as we get closer to the full-on summer diet of lists, we'll give you a smattering, a sprinkling here and there between now and then.
And the best part is that, lists like this one are flawed because it's subjective, but also there's some objective things in here I don't like. It's perfect debate fodder. I love it.
It's Michael Borky's favorite thing, taking somebody else's list and telling you why it's just so dumb.
I do like a lot of it. I do like a lot of it. There's a couple of flawed bits of logic in here, but, there's going to be worse ones. This exact list will have much worse submissions later on this year.
Oh, yeah, ranking the quarterbacks in the SEC?
Yes, there will be much worse rankings than this one, for sure.
So this list comes courtesy of the good folks at Athlon. Athlon magazine. They've been doing it for a long time, providing lists and other things, but they provide a lot of lists. That is how Athlon rolls. By the way, do you know who Brady Cook is? Show of hands. Anybody know who Brady Cook is?
I have to do process of elimination off of this list to know who he is.
Okay, so it took you a minute, right?
Right, I just looked at the list and I know who he is.
Okay, well, we'll get to who Brady Cook is in just a moment.
Wait, he was the quarterback that started in the bowl game that Missouri lost to Army as they were saluting in celebration. Yeah, good job.
Brady Cook, quarterback, Mizzou, ranked number 13 on this list from Athlon, in front of only whoever gets the starting nod at Vanderbilt. A little disrespect to Ken Seals, is it not?
I do 13 of the 14 starting quarterbacks in the SEC. That's not terrible.
Okay, there you go. Let's go 14-1. Or no, let's start at the top of the list.
Well, we know who's there.
The number one quarterback in the SEC is Bryce Young. And you'd really be hard-pressed to find anybody to argue with you about that.
He's the returning Heisman Trophy winner. It's tough to say otherwise.
Now, there might be some argument at number two. Athlon has Tennessee's Hendon Hooker as the number two quarterback in the SEC, and you guys may disagree. I don't hate that.
I actually think it's accurate, and I think it'll be accurate at the end of the year as well.
I feel like 2, 3, 4, you could give me any mix of that, and I wouldn't argue too hard against you.
Okay, 2, 3, 4 on the list. Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, KJ Jefferson from Arkansas, Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Make the argument for me for Will Rogers at number 2.
Numbers.
Okay.
He'll put up the best passing numbers of anybody on this list.
Borky, make the argument for me for KJ. Well, you didn't say you could alternate those three guys.
No, I like Hooker where he is. I think he's got a complete skill set, and he's a perfect fit for that offense. And, he won't throw for possibly 5,000 yards this year, but in terms of total package, running ability, still got a great arm, makes all the throws, all that stuff. I think This is the kind of guy that right now nobody's talking about, like Kenny Pickett. Nobody was talking about Kenny Pickett this time last year. He's about to be a first-round pick. You could see something similar with Hendon Hooker. I'm a big believer in him, especially towards the end of last year. He was really, really good.
Hey, Dad, make the argument for me for KJ Jefferson at number 2.
Probably the best running quarterback in the SEC. Maybe I just have a soft spot for those. But an improved passer last year from the year before, and I think he can take another step forward. He's in an offense that features his skills. I think they'll win some games this year. I think they're going to be second in the West behind Alabama. Tough as nails. What's not to like?
Yeah, I mean, when you take those 2, 3, 4 there, Hendon Hooker, KJ Jefferson, Will Rogers, I tend to agree that Hendon Hooker kind of showed you what he's capable of on a team that had flaws. And so as some of those flaws get filled, it stands to reason that if he stays healthy, he could be the second best quarterback in the SEC. If you're thinking KJ Jefferson is number 2, you're betting on continued ascension, continued growth.
Yeah.
Because what he was
a good QB coach, so it's possible.
You're right, but what he was 2 years ago in a limited role as a starter was incredibly raw.
Mm-hmm.
he looked more polished, but he certainly was not a finished product last year.
Right.
But if he takes the step or the steps forward year 2 to year 3 that he took year 1 to year 2, maybe so.
Yeah. Here's why I love Hooker especially. It's just 2 games, but the 2 best teams in college football last year objectively were Alabama and Georgia. Head and shoulders better than everybody else. Here's Hooker in 2 losses, but here's how he performed in those 2 games against rosters that his team was completely overmatched by. He threw for 282 on 68% completions and 3 touchdowns against Alabama, 244 on 65% completions and a touchdown against Georgia. Completely and totally overmatched football teams, and he still had success on top of the gaudy numbers he put up elsewhere during the season. That stuff, like you said, when the roster becomes comparable, Vols are back. Everybody says Vols are back all the time. I'm not prepared to say that, but you don't want Tennessee on your schedule this year.
Yeah, they're going to be good. And they're going to be a handful. And if they get a little bit better defensively, then look out. All right, number 5 on the list, Spencer Rattler. Whew, based on what?
I mean, now we're really projecting. I mean, this was a guy last year was preseason predicted to be the first pick in the draft. He's talented, but we'll see.
Number 6 on the list, Stetson Bennett. Now let me go to Chase in Columbus on the C Spire text line. The disrespect on the guy who won a national title and handled Alabama. 12-1, national championship, 65% completions, 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and he's the 5th best quarterback in the SEC. Actually, 6th.
6th.
So I will ask it this way, and be honest. I understand that he won, and winning is obviously important, and he showed something special. The mailman thing is a great story.
Mm-hmm.
If you told Kirby Smart you could have Stetson Bennett be your quarterback or Anthony Richardson, who do you think he'd pick?
Stetson Bennett.
If you think you would pick Stetson
Bennett.
Bennett.
Jake Fromm over Justin Fields, and this is not the best example. The other way to look at
if you could have Stetson Bennett or Jackson Dart, who would you pick?
The better way to look at it is what coach would trade for Stetson Bennett.
That's a better way to look at it.
Swap straight up. Who would trade? I don't know.
Would Billy Napier trade Anthony Richardson for Stetson Bennett? Would Lane Kiffin trade Jackson Dart for Stetson Bennett? Would Mark Stoops trade Will Levis for Stetson Bennett?
That's one where maybe.
Maybe. You may be onto something, but if I'm putting myself in Kirby Smart's shoes, I'm going, for the last 40 years, Georgia has had a lot of really talented teams that should have won the national championship. And there's only one guy in 40 years who has actually carried that trophy off the field at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't care what the pieces were around him. The guy carried a championship trophy off the field. I'm going to show a little bit of loyalty to that guy.
Is that why he's splitting reps in spring practice?
The top 4 guy that they would most likely trade is Will Rogers, because Stetson Bennett could play in an air raid offense, I think. Pocket passer.
And runs it pretty well also.
Yeah, runs well enough. So.
All right, first half of the quarterback list was Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, KJ Jefferson, Will Rogers, Spencer Rattler, where we all kind of were like, we'll see, and then Stetson Bennett. Will Levis rounded out the top half of the list at number 7.
Right where he
bottom. You think so? Just middle.
Right smack dab in the middle. He's good. I don't think he's great.
Second half of the list is fascinating. Jackson Dart, a presumed starter at Ole Miss. You're laughing at that?
The starter at Ole Miss. Just say it. It's okay.
Miles Brennan, the presumed starter, I suppose, at LSU.
That's not what's being written.
That's true. But I have a question if we're going to go that route. 3 starts for Brennan against SEC. No. I gotta get it in here. 3 starts for Brennan against SEC competition. 1,112 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks. 5 starts for Dart. not against SEC competition. 1,350 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. Why is Dart ahead of Brennan?
I feel like you're not telling the entire story there.
Because
I'm telling you that one guy is
36.
Okay, that's experience. He's vintage. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you that one guy has played against the SEC and looked pretty good before he got hurt, and one guy played against the Pac-12 and looked good, but
Vanderbilt and Missouri are two of those three teams
Missouri
right
was a
there.
decent team that
He
threw for 430 yards.
Their coach got fired.
Well,
still,
Mississippi State's defense wasn't great at that point either.
It was the first game of the year. He threw for 345 yards. Defense wasn't. Miles Brennan was not the reason LSU lost those 2 games.
No, I agree.
I
agree with that.
But you can watch, and we need to have this conversation tomorrow, I guess, if there's time. I've talked to some Ole Miss fans that think that Jackson Dart is like going to lead them to the Sugar Bowl again this year. And it's possible, I suppose, but he's still very raw. Very, very raw. Last year he was in a system, and he started most of his games after his coach got fired. It was a bad football team and a bad roster when all of the assistants were looking for their next gig. It wasn't a good situation for him last year, and he's still very, very young. He was playing when he should have been in high school last year, basically, based on his age. But you can watch the two of them play and see that there's a significant talent gap between the two. Brennan's not going to start at LSU unless...
No, I don't think he will either. I think Daniels will start.
He gets hurt.
I also didn't realize, I didn't look into the stats, and I guess Dart, not much of a runner. How's that going to work?
They didn't use him in that way. But
he has the ability to run, you think?
Yeah.
Because he's going to, this system's sort of based off of that.
Lane Kiffin's system's kind of based on whatever the strength of his quarterback is.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, Corral and his ability to run was really, to me, what made that offense go last year.
No, I completely agree with you on that front, but I think that's because of Corral's talent and skill set. That's the version of the offense that they went with.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson at Florida, number 10. Feels
Could
like
be
that
top 4
might
by the
be
end of the year
low when it's all said and done.
Could be top 4 by the end of the year.
Haynes King at Texas A&M at 11.
He's going to start, not Max Johnson.
Zach Calzada at Auburn.
Oh, God.
12.
Oh.
He's going to start and not TJ Finley.
I would start him over Finley. I would start him over Finley, but
and not Robbie Ashford.
Good options. Oh, did Ashford transfer to Auburn?
He did.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Brady Cook at 13, Mizzou, and then Seals or Wright at 14,